Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and this is Soft Flow Yoga. It's a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. I've called this class How to Modify Side Plank. So side plank pose is a pretty dynamic upper body posture, and I usually teach it in a power yoga class, but there's some significant ways that we can do it here in Soft Flow. So we're going to be doing that today. So you will need some props. I'm going to highly suggest something soft like a blanket or a towel, even double up on a yoga mat. Because side plank involves our upper body, it also involves our wrists, elbows, and shoulders. And so you might want to have something soft to work with, and that might just mean doubling up your yoga mat, your blanket, or a towel that you can spread out on your mat. Along with that, let's go ahead and grab our 2 yoga blocks. And again, if you don't have yoga blocks, you can use some hardbound books. And then just an optional piece, maybe a big cushion, a pillow, or like this, a yoga bolster. These are really nice to have. You might want to invest in one just so that you can use it for sitting. It's great for meditation and also wonderful for Shavasana. All right, so that's our props and our practice is all set. Let's begin in a comfortable seated position. Go ahead and feel free to sit on your folded blanket or towel or on your cushion and sit up as tall as you can. Nice lengthened spine. You might start with a few deep breaths just to get in tune with your breathing. So inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose or out through your mouth. I like to exhale through the mouth this first time, just so you can sigh and just feel the body relax. You'll feel how tension just begins to just roll away. Helping you to settle into the space and prepare for your practice. This is our breathing meditation, so just concentrate on your breath. Just slow, steady breaths to begin. A gentle inhale, followed by a slow and complete exhale. As you're breathing, you certainly can keep your eyes opened. Just softly gaze forward or downward. You can also close your eyes. Use this as an opportunity to look inside of yourself. An opportunity to tune into what you're needing at this moment and what your yoga practice can provide you today. Slow, steady breaths. And just to bring a little bit more energy and awareness to the breath, when you inhale, just feel the breath rising upward. So there's an effort in the inhale. And feel the expansion of the lungs. Nice opening of the heart space. And as you exhale, just draw your navel inward towards your spine as you're able. Just a light connection and awareness of your center body. It's a contraction of the abdominal muscles, not too strong, but just enough where you feel that pulling in sensation. And just use that as a reminder to connect to your center. It's also wonderful for bodily support while in stillness and in movement. Inhale, feel the breath rising, feel the lengthening of your spine, so you might sit up a little taller. Lungs expand as you inhale. Exhale, draw belly in. Connect to your center. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths like this. Now we'll add a very simple movement. When you're ready, inhale and extend your arms out across the room, then all the way up towards the ceiling. That's the in-breath. Then exhale, extend your arms outward, reaching to touch the walls on either side of you as you bring your arms back down by your side. Let's do that again. Inhale, fully extend the arms. Good energy in your arms, hands, and fingers, reaching all the way up to complete the inhale. Exhale, spread your wings and let the arms float back down by your side. Now go ahead and continue on your own. Move and breathe at your own pace. Nice full inhale. As the arms rise, you're still feeling the breath rise, filling up your lungs. When we exhale, even though the arms are coming down, we're still trying to keep that uplifting sensation created by the breath in, but we're exhaling to draw belly in. We call that the abdominal lock. So you maintain this wonderful extension of the spine and support of the body. As you reach up into the air, notice the lengthening through the sides of your body. Also pay attention to the movement of your shoulders. As a reminder, we're working with side plank today, and that does involve our shoulders. We'll be working with how to modify side plank pose. Now in Sanskrit, the language of yoga is called Vashisthasana. Very fancy word, Vashisthasana, wonderful word. And one of the explanations, I guess, or intentions, I guess is the best way of saying this. The intentions of that posture is it's a pose of excellence. Finish the breath that you're on and take one more breath. And as you bring your arms down, just let your arms relax, let your shoulders relax. Your hands can just rest in your lap. So again, Vashisthasana, the pose of excellence. I think it's a wonderful way to tap into your own excellence. Your talents, your traits, your strengths, everything that's positive about you that you can just bring to the surface. Sometimes we try to push our wonderful traits to the side or even fade into the background at times. It's time for you to just move forward, move right into the light and show your excellence. And so perhaps this posture can help amplify that, and maybe just the intention of the practice can be about, yes, just being my best self. Before we do our mild back bend, just take a moment, just roll the shoulders, maybe a few times backward like this, just getting into those shoulder joints. And kind of exaggerate that. So kind of high up and around and back, and then do the same thing kind of up and around and forward. And kind of an exaggerated movement of the shoulders. It'll involve your head and neck perhaps, and then you can kind of shake all that out. Now go ahead and bring your hands behind you. Just prop yourself up onto your fingertips. You want to make sure the shoulders do roll back. Engage your shoulder blades. Just squeezing them together. Tip the chin up just a little bit. So this is our mild back bend. Now, as you breathe in, press into the ground with the fingers. Feel that energy shoot up the arms, right up to the shoulders. And of course, breath is rising to fill your lungs. And with the shoulders back, you might even feel this feeling across the chest from shoulder to shoulder. As you exhale, draw your belly in, connecting. Again, breathing in, feeling the breath rise, fill up your lungs. That stretch across the chest. Fill up the lungs. Exhale, draw belly in, and as you're able, squeeze your shoulder blades together a little bit more. Just notice the energy that you've created here. You can even think of this as a way of just kind of drawing up all that positive energy within you, your strengths, your excellence. Go ahead and lower your chin now. Walk your hands towards yourself and just sit up nice and tall. You can just rest your hands in your lap again. You might feel free to shake out those shoulders since you had them back and they were engaged. Now let's take our forward fold. We like to change our leg posturing and come to cobbler's pose or bound angle. Just like this. Here's an opportunity to use your books or blocks. I like to tuck the blocks underneath the knees here. This could be books or blocks, even just some small pillows. And just hold onto your shins or ankles and sit up nice and tall. Breathe in. Exhale, draw belly in. This is the support we are creating so we can move. And we're just slightly hinging forward. Just a little bit to maintain the extended torso. Inhale again. Exhale, draw belly in. You can stay just like this or go a little bit further because I'm not really feeling this in the inner legs, and that's part of the intention of the posture. So I'm going to hinge forward just a tiny bit more. Now I'm starting to feel something. It's not too intense, and you don't want it to be intense, but just enough where, okay, there's sensation. Let's breathe into that sensation, maintaining the lengthened spine. Now you're also welcome if you want to go a little lower without compromising the pose and certainly not stressing yourself. You can lower your chin a little bit, round your back, and then fold, creating a little bit more of that dynamic of stretching in the inner legs. You might even feel this down through the back since there's a curvature in the spine. Let's go ahead and take 3 more breaths here. And when we're complete, let's re-extend the spine. Just start by lifting the chin a little bit so the neck is in the same alignment as the spine. And then we'll hinge our way back up so we're nice and tall in our seat. And just pause here for a moment. While you're in paused, you can just move your props to the side. And then carefully make your way to hands and knees. If you're sitting on your blanket, you might want to unfold it a little bit just to support your hands and knees. Ready for cat and cow. So we'll inhale and just tip the chin up. Feel the heart open. The back will arch like a little back bend as the pelvis tips back. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under. Feel the belly button pull up towards spine. Feel the curvature of the spine as well, chin to chest. That's cat. Inhale, tip the pelvis back. Belly will drop. Back arches, open the heart, lift the chin. Cow. Exhale, cat. And just continue this nice flow. Now it's mostly a motion through the pelvis, arching of the back, which is movement of the torso. But this does affect the shoulders, even though the arms aren't moving. So just be mindful of that. We're also on our hands and knees. And this is actually getting us prepared for Vashisthasana, or our side plank pose. Because in general, this is kind of what the body will be like. Except it's going to be sideways, hence side plank. All right, take 1 more breath. And just so we can take some rests off the wrists, tuck your toes under and just kind of shift the hips back a little bit, just so you have no weight on the hands. You can lift your hands. Let's just massage the wrists here. I just like to do little circles in opposite directions, both directions here. And then a gentle press, the top of the hand, very soft pulses into the mat. We're going to be on our hands quite a bit. And so this is just a nice way to keep them well lubricated, let's say. And even wiggle your fingers. All right, let's go ahead and move our blanket or towel, whatever you might be using for your soft pad. Come back to hands and knees. Now in plank, or even this tabletop position, the alignment here is shoulder right over the wrist. And that is putting a force flex in the wrist, and that's pretty dynamic there. So to get ready for down dog, we're going to step the hands forward, and then I'll take some of that force and pressure away from the wrist, hopefully. Spread out your fingers here. Even grip the mat with the fingertips. That too should take some pressure off the wrist. It's mild, but it does help. Press into the mat with the fingers and palms to flatten the palms. Strong, straight arms. We want to maintain that good energy and strength. It's going to be very effective for our side plank pose. Tuck your toes under. Let's go to cow pose. That's our inhale, the back bend right here. Exhale, round it all out. Here's cat pose, rounding, nice. Then lift your knees, lift your hips up into the air, and we're in downward facing dog. Feel free to make some adjustments with the feet and even your hands a little bit on your mat. Keep a good bend in the knees, send your hips into the air.
We want a nice long torso. Continue to pay attention to the hands, pressing very firmly into the mat with some extra pressure towards your thumbs and index fingers. Feel the energy in your arms, strong and straight. This also affects your shoulders, back, and chest. We're going to take a walk up to the center of the mat with the feet, or just until the feet are flat on your mat. You might need to just slide your fingers toward your toes. You'll be in forward fold. Then we're going to rise up a little bit. So slide your hands up to your shins or knees, only rising up halfway, just like this. So your back is flat and you're parallel to the floor. Again, the knees are soft, a good bend, but the feet feel firm on the ground. Take a few breaths. We're still lengthening through the torso, the straight line we're creating with the upper body. With the exhale, we're still engaging the core, pulling belly button up towards spine in this case. Now shifting your weight into your heels, bend your knees like you're going to sit down into a chair, lifting the chest. Take your arms out to the side, then stand up. Reach up into the air to draw a straight line in the body. And exhale, bring your arms down to your side. Right there. Now let's go and take a moment to roll the shoulders again. Big circles backward 2 or 3 times. And then we'll do the same thing forward. We're going to keep our shoulders very mobile. Let's go back to the wrists here too. Circle the wrists one direction and maybe the other direction, and even wiggle your fingers. All right, let's go through our half salute to the sun where we fold and come back up. When you're ready, inhale, extend your arms up into the air. Feel the lengthening through the sides of your body. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees and sit back into an imaginary chair. Heart comes forward, arms start to lower. You'll lower into a fold. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees, extending your spine. Hold here on the exhale, half forward fold. Same thing. Bent knees, strong feet rooted into the ground, long torso parallel to the floor. Now shifting your weight into the heels, bend your knees, lift your chest, spread your wings, and float all the way back up to standing. Reaching into the sky, exhale, arms return to your side. Let's keep rolling those shoulders a few times backward, a few times forward. Excellent. All right, let's do our variation of Warrior One. Mountain pose to begin. Soft knees. Start shifting your weight into your right foot, and then get very tall with an inhale, lengthen torso, exhale to engage your core. I'm leaning forward a little bit, just a little, so I can easily pick up the left heel, tap the toes or foot back until it just naturally stops, right about there. I'm going to turn my leg out, so my toes are pointing out that direction, plant that whole foot into the floor, shifting so I'm centered here. So I have a good bounce in my center, the knees are bent. Place hands on hips, push pelvis down as you lengthen through the torso, and then face forward, like so. Now inhale, extend both arms up into the air. With the exhale, we'll bend the elbows so the arms are at 90 degrees, something like this. This is our variation of Warrior One. Just as we're going to be doing some modifications or variations of side plank pose. 2 more breaths. Now inhale, extend the arms up into the air. Exhale, bring your arms down. Go ahead and bring your hands to your hips. Let's lean forward and put weight into the front foot so we can pick up the left foot, step forward, feet together. Balance yourself on 2 feet. Let's extend both arms up into the air with an inhale. Exhale, arms return to your side. Feel free to kind of shake things out, letting all that go. Ready for the second side. Balanced on 2 feet, soft knees, shift weight into your left foot, press into the ground, feel tall, very strong in that leg, lengthen torso, fill up the lungs, exhale, engage your core. I'm leaning forward a little bit. I'm picking up the right foot, tapping it back, heel lifted, toes on the floor. It's just a flexed set of toes. Pivot or turn the leg out, press full foot on the floor, finding your center here, soft knees. Hands on hips, push pelvis down as you lengthen through the torso as best as you can. It gives you space so you can turn to face mostly forward. Inhale, extend both arms up into the air. Exhale, bend elbows to about 90 degrees. And again, we'll hold. Great place just to focus, be aware of the breath, even think about your strong traits.
Bring those to the surface. We're really elevating our excellence today. Inhale, extend the arms up into the air. Exhale, bring your arms down, hands to hips. Lean forward, put weight into this left foot. Step this right foot forward, feet together, balanced on 2 feet. Let's go ahead and re-extend the arms all the way up. And exhale, arms return to your side. If you'd like, keep shaking out those shoulders. Circle the wrists. Alrighty, while you're doing that, let me quickly adjust my mat. Let's make our way down to the earth. But starting in mountain pose, we're going to be moving through our sun salutation. Here we go. Inhale, reaching into the sky. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, and sit back and down into your imaginary chair, folding as your belly comes down towards your thighs. Fingers might touch your toes, lower your head. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins, find that flat back. Now on the exhale, just slide back down the legs, bend the knees a whole lot. Take your time so you can place your hands on your mat and start walking the feet back. Take as many steps as you need to the back end of your mat. This is plank pose. Another setup for our side plank. So if this is plank, you can imagine what side plank is. It's just being sideways, resting only on one hand. All right, we're going to bend the knees here with an exhale. Send the hips up into the air. Adjust the feet, adjust the hands. Downward facing dog. Don't forget that firm connection to the ground with the hands so you have energized, strong, straight arms. Now we'll inhale and pick up the right foot and extend the right leg back to the back wall is fine. Exhale, bend this right knee. Bring that right knee in underneath you towards your chest, shifting your whole upper body forward. Shoulders will be over wrists. Once again, set your right foot down. Heel will be lifted. Set the left knee down. Let's get the pressure off the hands. Just shift back. So you can easily pick up your right hand, go get your right ankle. I'm grabbing it, picking the foot up, placing it a bit higher on the mat. Replant the hands, relift the left knee, pivot or turn left heel to the floor. Now we have more space, more distance between the feet because we're getting ready for our second version of Warrior One. I'm rising up onto my fingertips to uplift my body. I'm even extending through the torso so it's pointing forward. Okay, elongated this way, same direction as my yoga mat. Put some good weight in that back foot, front foot as well, good knee bend. Inhale, hinge from the hips, rising up, taking both arms up into the sky. Exhale here. Let's hold for a moment. Feel the energized straight arms straight up. Inhale. Then the exhale to turn your torso towards the left side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. Reaching out. We're going to hold this for a moment just so you can feel the energy in the arms, in particular in your shoulders. Now they might get a little tired, but we want to build endurance, okay? Endurance strength by just holding your arms out like so. Okay, next pose. Let's reach forward to angle the upper half of the body. We're going to bend this arm at 90 degrees. Tip and just rest the forearm on the thigh. Not too much weight here. You want to be able to what I call paint the bench. So not too much weight here. The energy is going to be up, taking the left hand up into the air. Okay, this right arm very light on the thigh, but it is bent at 90 degrees. Okay, we want the energy of the left arm up and straight, lightness of this bent arm. Alrighty, this bent arm is something we'll be doing in our side plank. Now think about it. Side angle pose, which we're in, is a sideways pose. Side angle pose, we're sideways. Side plank is similar. Okay, we're going to come back up to a Warrior Two, re-extend the arms. We're going to drop the left arm, bring it around and forward, face forward. Inhale. And exhale, flexed hands so I can fold. Catch yourself on your hands. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Press firmly into the floor with the hands, strong, straight arms. Slide the right foot back. We're back to our plank pose. Hold for a moment. Build that endurance strength. Next, we'll bend the knees, send the hips into the air. Adjust the feet. You might want to tiptoe forward just a little bit, just so your hips lift a little higher. Make sure your knees are very bent. Lift the hips a little higher. Firm press into the mat with the hands. Other side. Inhale, pick up the left foot, extend the left leg back. Exhale, bend the left knee, bring the knee in towards chest, shifting forward, shoulders aligned over the wrist. Set the left foot down, heel lifted, right knee down. Pull the weight of the body back so your hands are light.
Use the left hand to pick up the left foot, place it up at the top of the mat, and it's flat on the floor. Replace the left hand, re-lift the right knee, pivot, or turn the right heel so it's on the floor. I'm rising to fingertips, shifting my body weight back so there's more weight in that back foot. Also high enough so I can extend the torso, same length as the yoga mat. Good knee bend, using that as leverage as we now inhale and rise up, reaching into the air for a warrior one. Hold on the exhale, but keep breathing. Nice extension through the arms. This is more arm and shoulder work. Breathe in the exhale to turn your torso towards the right side of the room. Arms come down to parallel. Hold your warrior two. Really reach. Good energy through the fingertips, trying to touch the walls. Building more endurance strength in your arms and shoulders. Let's get ready for side angle, reaching forward to angle the upper half of the body. We're going to bend this left arm at 90 degrees. Tip, rest the left arm on the leg very lightly. Make sure you can paint the bench. Right arm energetically reaching up. That'll keep this lightness here. Alrighty, nice opening, nice sideways pose. Another posture that's getting us prepared for our variations and modifications of side plank. All right, we're going to make our way back up to a warrior two, re-extend the arms. We're going to drop the right arm, bring it forward, face forward. Flex the hands so the palms are forward. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Catch yourself with your hands. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Press into the floor, strong hands, strong arms. Slide the left foot back, plank pose. Okay, let's take a break from the hands for a bit. We're going to come down to the knees. Sit back into hero very briefly, and then off to the side. Let's get into our back bend. Let's just get off the hands for a moment. It's a little bit more shoulder work once we pay attention while we move into our bridge pose. Here you do want your books or blocks. Make sure you're sitting in the center of your mat. Go ahead and roll down onto your back. Feel free to bring your knees into chest. Be sure your blocks are handy. You can easily grab them. You might want to add some motion here. And be sure to continue your deep breathing. All right, let's set the feet onto the floor. I typically take my feet a little wider than my hips, almost right out to the edges of the mat. It just helps me to stabilize the pose once we get into it. And it opens my hips and back. Grab your blocks. Inhale. As you exhale, engage your core and then lift your hips up into the air high enough so you can place your props underneath you. Get them in the right spot so you can just sit. And just kind of feel relaxed here. But we're going to add something here. Now you're probably just kind of lying flat. Your shoulders are just kind of in their neutral position. We're going to try to get the shoulders a bit underneath us, okay? Here's what we'll do. I'm kind of leaning over to my right so I can actually take this whole arm off the floor, but try to get the shoulder underneath, like I'm going to lie on the arm. Okay, then I'm going to roll to the left side, do the same thing. Kind of free up the right arm, get it underneath, and then lie on top. And so go ahead and flip the palms up if that feels natural to you. Okay, now we got the shoulders a bit more underneath us. We're going to do a couple things here. Usually we just do bridge pose and we're just sitting on the blocks. Perfect. It's just a nice way to be in the posture, hold it for a long time, and it's certainly a variation of our bridge pose. But we want to put a little pressure, not much, a little pressure on the back portions of the shoulders. Again, we're building a little bit more strength and endurance. All we're going to do is, on an exhale, lift your hips off of your blocks, and you might even feel that pressure in the shoulders. Hold it for like 3 seconds, and then come back down to the blocks. We're going to do that 2 more times. Ready, set, go. With an exhale, lift the hips, hold. 1, 2, 3, and we'll come back down. Soften, relax, counting backward. 3, 2, 1. With an exhale, lift the hips and just holding for a 3 count. 1, 2, 3, back down. Now we can even free up the shoulders again, let them come back to neutral. Hold for a few more moments. Find your breath. So that's all we're doing with bridge pose. We just added an element of getting the arms underneath so we can add that little pressure on the shoulders. All right, now let's come out of the pose. Lift your hips, remove the blocks out from underneath you, and carefully come down to the ground. Once you've landed, extend the legs out front. Maybe extend your arms behind you if you've got room. Nice lengthening sensation. 2 breaths. Go ahead and hug your knees into your chest once again. We're going to roll to one side, and we're going to press ourselves up to a seated position. So here we are in seated, but we're going to come back to our hands and knees. So let's swing those legs around, come to hands and knees. But I'm backing up a little bit because we want to get that towel or blanket or a doubled mat. Just something soft underneath us as we now prepare for our modifications or variations of side plank pose. So meet me here in this tabletop posture. Shoulders over the wrists. If you get tired, remember you can always rest. Tap your right foot. We're going to swing that right foot out to the right side. We're going to create what I call just a kickstand like on a bike. Extend the left leg back like that, but keep your toes on the floor. The leg is straight. I'm leaning a bit into my right hand and right knee, starting to turn the body sideways as I extend the left arm up into the air. This is our first variation of side plank. We may have done this before in soft flow. Notice there's the pressure of the hand into the blanket or towel, something soft. Nice energy of the reaching left hand into the air. I'd even suggest flexing the left foot. It can stay on the floor here for this variation. Flexing the foot just brings energy to that leg. So this is our Vashisthasana variation with the knee on the ground. We're going to inhale just to open up a little bit more. Exhale, a careful turn and return to the mat. Left hand, bring that left knee down. Bring that kickstand back in. Tuck both toes, or tuck the toes of both feet, and then sit back so we can get off the hands. Again, let's go back to the nice massage here. We are going to do the other side. Let's go ahead and massage whatever feels good. I'll give you another thing you can do for the wrists, and that's to press the tops of the hands together and like swing like that. You can even do it in a prayer pose, but not too forced, more soft there, and then this kind of swinging action. And then wiggle your fingers. All right, just to help condition and keep things mobile and relieved in the wrists. All right, it's going to do the other side. So back to hands and knees. We're going to make a kickstand with the left foot. I'm just swinging it out to the side. You can always adjust that. It's really just to balance the body. Let's extend the right leg back, extending the leg, lifting the knee, but keep the toes on the floor. Leaning now into the left hand and left knee. Picking up the right arm and swinging open like a big door, sideways facing the right side of the room. Reach up into the air. Now, the balance is maintained because we do have the knee and foot on the ground here, this left knee and foot. Yes, there is still pressure in the left hand, wrist. You'll feel this in the shoulder. But this full version of the posture is both legs are straight, and we're just balancing on this one hand and the feet on the floor back here. Flex the right foot, inside edge of the foot will be on the ground. All right, that's long enough. Breathe in, exhale, a careful and slow return to the earth with the right hand. Bring the right knee in, bring your kickstand back in, tuck the toes, sit back so we can get off the hands. Massage. Wonderful. All right, so that's Vashisthasana, side plank variation. We're going to do a couple more. Let's first flow. We're going to move the blanket. Just keep things in motion here. So just moving the blanket temporarily. Let's come back out to downward facing dog. Hands out front so the wrists aren't directly underneath the shoulders. Tuck your toes. Cat and cow, starting with cow. Inhale. Exhale, round it out. Keep the rounded sensation. Lift your knees. Send your hips up into the air. That should create the lengthened torso. Inhale, let's pick up the right foot. Extend the right leg back. Exhale, bend the right knee. Kind of shift forward a little bit more quickly, and maybe the right foot can reach up to the right hand. Short of the hand is fine. Pivot or turn left heel to the floor. Put weight and pressure in that back foot. Step the hands back. Rise to fingertips. Extend torso. Inhale, hinge from hips, rise up, reach up into the sky. Exhale, turn torso, opening to the left side of the room. I'm just lunging. I'm just putting a little bit more distance between the feet here. Nice lunge. Side angle. Okay, reaching forward. Let's bend the arm 90 degrees. Tip, set the arm lightly on the thigh. Left hand reaching into the air. You can even follow this left hand a little bit more over your head to lengthen through the side of the body, also positively affecting the shoulder. We're going to come back up to a warrior two. We're just making this flow. Drop the left hand, bring them both forward, face forward, flex the hands. With an exhale, fold, hands to the mat. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. Press into the floor, strong hands and arms, slide right foot back, plank pose. We're bringing the knees to the floor. Tuck the toes again. Sit back. Now before we do the other side, we're going to do another version of side plank. So we're just going to bring the blanket in just at the top of the mat here. All right, back out to hands and knees. I'm going to step the knees back. I'm going to come down to my elbows, like so. I'm going to turn my right arm inward. Does that make sense? I'm just bringing my right hand so it's centered. My elbow didn't move. It's just at an angle. My arm is at an angle. I'm leaning into my right elbow and my right knee so I can extend the left leg back. I'm propping myself up on the left hand to press and open. You can kind of make a kickstand with the right foot. And again, we're just opening up sideways. Now, this is another variation of what we did earlier. If it's hard to be on the hand, you can be on the forearm. This works just fine. It might feel a little awkward with the left foot on the floor. It might want to lift, so go ahead and lift it. And then maybe even extend your left arm overhead. So just some variations of the pose. So you can be on the arm here rather than on the hand. Okay, let's bring the left hand down, bring that left foot down, carefully turn, so I'm bringing the knee to the floor. I'm going to come back up onto the hands here. Once again, just moving the blanket or towel, whatever you got, out of the way. Don't worry about it. Step the hands forward. Get ready for down dog. Tuck the toes. Cat, cow. Finishing in cat. Exhale right here. Lift knees and hips. Straighten the spine. Downward facing dog. Now inhale, extend left leg into the air. Exhale, bend the left knee, shifting body forward, bring the knee in, maybe setting the foot down near left hand. Mine's just shy of the wrist. Pivot or turn right heel to the floor, put some weight and pressure in that back foot. You might need to step the hands back, that's fine. Rise to fingertips, find that extended torso. Then hinge from hips with an inhale, rise up, reach into the air, still moving. Exhale, opening to warrior two. I'm going to take my feet a little wider, not much. Here's my warrior two. Getting ready for side angle variation. Reach forward, bend the left arm, tilt. Resting left arm very lightly on the thigh while the right arm reaches into the air. Remember, this left arm is soft on the leg. We're going to come back up to a warrior two. Drop the right arm, reach forward with both hands, flex the hands. With your exhale, fold, bring the hands to the mat. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. Press hands into the floor. Let's slide that left foot back, plank. There's our arm strength and shoulder strength. Set the knee down, both knees down. Tuck your toes, sit back.
Let's do that side plank pose on the arm again. Just using the blanket if you want that softness.
Hands on the blanket. I'm stepping the knees back so they're out from underneath the hips. Carefully come down to your elbows. At first they might be parallel to one another. We're just going to kind of shift or move the left hand so it's a little more center so the arm is at an angle. Make a kickstand with the left foot. Propping myself up onto the right hand so I can lean over to the left side so I can extend the right leg back as best as you can, opening up sideways. And because the arm is on the floor, it kind of feels a little awkward, so you may want to lift this right leg, flexing the foot to keep it energized. And maybe if you've got balance, this does take balance, extend the right arm over your head like so. Because I can feel my body kind of wavering a little bit. It just means the body is working, it's just trying to stabilize. And then carefully bring the right hand back down, bring the right leg down, bring the kickstand back in. Come back up onto the hands so you're in our tabletop. All right, let's just take cat and cow 2 or 3 breaths. We're going to keep the blanket here. I'm going to unfold it and make it longer on the mat and get ready for another version of side plank. So I'm just extending my blanket out. Now follow me. Come to your right side. Hopefully you can still see me and hear me, but just come to your right side, like you're just lounging on your side here. But we're going to fire this up a little bit. And just make sure your arm is on the blanket or towel, whatever you're using. I'm going to move mine up a little bit so I can extend my legs. Now the arm is here's that 90-degree angle like we did in side plank when your arm was resting lightly on the thigh. We're going to bring some pressure and energy to this in a moment. Now we want the legs to be straight here, just like this. Just flex the feet, legs stacked on one on top of the other. So the legs are energized here. I'm propped up on my arm. Now you can, at the moment I'm sunken into my arm, okay, into my shoulder and neck. Can you see that? And I'm pressing to get out of that. So here's the difference. I'm sinking. Press up out of it. So you're really pressing yourself up. You'll get this little side bend. And this is really the pose. This is it. Now if you want to, what you can do, just for a little exercise of strength, with an exhale, you can see if you can actually lift the hips up off the floor. That means putting more pressure into the blanket with the arms. Okay, a little lift. See, I barely lifted. So, and that's perfect. Just see what kind of energy and strength you do have. Just do your best. Excellence. That's it. Maybe one more time. Lift. Now, how can we lift without doing it this way? Here's another variation. We're going to pick up this top leg. It's my left leg. Set the foot down in front of the body. Now the foot is going to give us some leverage. You can watch me or do it with me. So I'm putting pressure into the foot and pressure into the arm to lift. Press and lift. There we are. You can even take this left hand up into the air. So that's another variation. Now you do probably feel this in the shoulder and arm. That's good. You're just building strength here. Another variation of side plank. Now come back down. And we can rest. All right, I'm just going to swing around so we can do the other side, okay? Which means I'm going to slide my blanket down this way. All right, so we're going to be on the left side. So just come to your little side lounge like so. Straight legs, stacked legs, flex the feet. Make sure you're not sinking or collapsed into the shoulder. You want to lift up out of it. Okay, we're rooting down into the floor. Now this arm can change angle just for what kind of leverage you might need. Now you're going to try to lift the hips. You're going to press strongly into the floor here. Exhale and see if you can lift. Ooh. Now you don't have to lift very high because I'm not lifting very high. It takes a lot. And if you barely lift or don't even get off the ground, don't worry about it. Just give yourself credit for trying. And that's perfect. Exhale, lift, and then back down. You'll feel this in the energy. Feel this energy in the legs too. One more time.
Exhale, lift and back down. Let's add that extra support of the right foot coming forward in front of the body. Plant the foot. So we're pushing the foot and the arm into the blanket to lift. 1, 2, 3. Exhale, lift. Maybe you're reaching the hand up into the air, which may actually help you to lift. If you need to come right back down, don't worry about it. Come right back down. You did the pose. But if you can hold it for 3, 2, 1 more seconds, great, and then we'll come back down. Alrighty. And then just come up to seated. Like so. Let's just come to cobbler's pose. Just bound angle so the feet come together. You can even bring in your blocks again. Just repeating a pose we did earlier. Just hold on to your shins or ankles. Nice and tall here. Carefully with an exhale, hinge forward. Now I'm able to, because I start to hinge forward, I'm able to kind of scoop up the toes. This version for me, I'm just dropping the chin, let the back round, and just fold. I like this version, especially after what we just did, because we were creating these little side bends in the body, which may affect the low back and the sides of the body, the hips. And so just coming to a little bit more of a neutral posture, like so, and seated, and then folding might relieve the low back in this natural curvature. Let's take 3 more breaths. So that's it. So we did our variations of side plank pose. Coming out of the posture, just lift your chin to help re-extend the spine. Let's hinge our way back up so we're nice and tall right here. Alrighty, just moving the blocks to the side. Now you're still welcome to use the blanket or keep the blanket here. We are going to lie down. I am going to move. Actually, no, I'm going to keep it here. I think it's in a good spot. So you can move your blanket or keep it in place. Carefully roll down. Bring knees to chest and add some more movement. I like to rock left and right a few times and then draw a figure 8 with the knees. And that nicely gets into the low back and hips. Do that a few more times as it feels good. Be sure you're breathing. Come back to neutral here. Lightly flex the feet. Hold onto the shins or knees and take the legs apart, just out to the sides. Now, if your elbows touch the floor, that's perfect. Just let your elbows touch the floor. Open the hands and let your legs kind of fall into your palms. Just holding the legs open here. It softens the posture a little bit. And take some deep breaths. And here you can even modify how much of a stretch you get in the inner legs. Three more breaths. Then after the third breath, we're going to bring the knees together. Let's extend the legs up into the air. Just hold onto the legs with the hands. Perfectly fine to keep a bend in the knees. Let's get into the feet a little bit. Flex the feet, point, and then circles. Kind of like what we did with the wrists. Flex, point, circle. Be sure you do circles in the opposite directions. Add some movement in the legs. I like to do some bicycle pedaling. Just get into the knees and hips a little bit. You can back pedal. And then, of course, just re-extending the legs. So this is an inverted pose. Let's bend the knees, set the feet down. Can you reach your blocks? No, mine are too, well, they're right here. Now, we're going to do that extended legs again, but we're going to be seated on our blocks. So bring your books or blocks in, bend the knees, feet on the floor. With an exhale, lift the hips, slide the blocks underneath you. Now, you can only use one. If you've got a thicker block, you can just use one, okay? Mine are thin, so I'm using both my blocks. So we're going to take the legs back up into the air like so, here, and then kind of mimic shoulder stand. Now, shoulder stand is, you can probably imagine what that pose is like. We're actually
kind of resting on our shoulders with the legs straight up into the air. We're not sitting on blocks. And you're supporting your body with your hands. And so it's light pressure on the shoulders, but you've got the support of your hands in the position. So let's just think of this as shoulder stand. Since part of our practice today had some focus on shoulders, let's just bring that to mind. So legs extended straight up. And sometimes in shoulder stand, once we're in shoulder stand, we do a pose called plow pose. And that's really just bringing the legs back behind us. Now this may not work completely since we're sitting on these blocks, but you can perhaps bend the knees and maybe just kind of bring your knees closer to your body, towards your chest or chin. Something like this. And we'll just consider this our plow pose. But imagine that the legs were extended over your head. Toes and feet are behind you in this position. This is just another variation. So in soft flow, that's really what we're doing. We're taking some common yoga postures and finding variations of performing them. 2 more breaths. Do it in a soft way, a gentle way, and hopefully in ways that just about any body can do. All right, let's bring the feet back down to the floor. Press into the floor to lift your hips, move your blocks, and then come down. Bring the legs together, a little closer together. We're going to reclining cobbler's pose or reclining bound angle pose. So the legs will go back out to the sides with the soles of the feet touching. We already did this seated a couple of times. Now we're just doing it lying down. You can still use those blocks or pillows underneath the knees and just let them rest open. This is nice because it's quite relaxing. Here you might just take some deep breaths. Feel the body soften, relax here. Now this could be your Shavasana. This could be an ending pose for you if this felt comfortable for you. We are going to do one more posture before we finish up. Very relaxing here. Before we get into our final pose and then our final relaxation space, just take a moment, since we're just kind of holding here in stillness, come back to that pose of excellence, Vashisthasana, our side plank. Hopefully throughout the practice you were able to, even just unconsciously or subconsciously, raise to the surface all your positive strengths, your traits, abilities, all the great knowledge that you have, and just highlight those parts of yourself. Step into the light. All right, let's go ahead and bring the knees up and together. You can move your blocks out of the way. Give yourself another hug, draw the knees in, ready for our twist. Let's send the knees over to the left side. You can still use the blocks. I'll use it on this side so you can see. So if the legs don't go all the way to the floor, and they certainly don't have to, let the left leg in this case rest on the block. And you can even place another block between the knees because they don't have to touch here either. Now your right arm, several things you can do. You can't just let it relax by your side. You're in a twist, you're in the pose. Just to add a little bit more, and this is pretty typical, you just extend the arm out to the right side. Just an extension of the arm, opens the shoulder, and we certainly work the shoulders today. Deep breaths. Settling in, thinking about your excellence, raising all of that to the surface. Let's take 3 more breaths on this first side. When you're ready, carefully come back to center. Hold center as a way of neutralizing the body or just kind of realigning the body. And when you're ready, we'll go to the other side. Feel free to use those props
So I'm placing a block underneath the right leg, and then I put a block between the knees, and it just modifies the twist so it doesn't feel like it's too strenuous. And again, the left arm in this case can just rest down by your side or out to the side. And just relax. Deep breaths. We can consider this our closing practice. Just some gentle movements, deep breathing as we hold our postures, as we get ready for our final relaxation pose, typically Shavasana. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And then we'll carefully unwind, coming out of that twist. Bring the knees to center. Another hug. You can even bring the knees in a little closer as you're able, even lifting your head and chest up towards the knees. A little bit more roundedness in the back if it feels okay. And then come all the way down. Set the feet down, rest your head. Then extend the legs. Let your arms relax down by your side. You might flip the palms up, because that's just more of a natural opening for the shoulders here as well. And just settle in. Find stillness. Take a deep breath in. You can exhale audibly through the mouth with that nice sigh, feeling the body completely relax. Hold in stillness as best as you can. Just as we did in our breathing meditation at the start of the class, you can keep eyes opened. In this case, just looking straight up with a soft gaze, or close your eyes and move inward. Paying attention to the breathing. Trying to let go of thought. Just focus on the breath. But if thinking does arise, and it typically does, just think about your excellence. Stay aware of your breathing. Stay here as long as you like, especially if you found the body just completely relaxing and it feels good. You're certainly deserving of this restful moment. So again, not necessary to move right away. Even as I end the practice and come to seated, you can stay right here. Enjoy. When it is time to move, take your time and start the movement with breath, maybe taking 5 slow, deep breaths in and out. Deep cleansing breaths. And as you're breathing in this fashion, feel movement return to your body. When you are ready to move, take your time, move slowly. Roll onto one side of your body, pausing in a nurturing pose. And then guide your way up to seated, still moving as slowly as you can. You might sit on a prop like a pillow, or blanket. Crossing legs. Feel the extended spine. Let's just roll the shoulders back one time just to open the heart. And then one last movement together. Inhale, extend the arms into the air. Exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart space, taking one more breath. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste. Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.